What's up, everyone? Mr. NoobTube Gamer, giving you guys another Call of Duty Black Ops 1 gameplay commentary. Today we're playing Team Deathmatch on Hangar 18, one of the many really good DLC maps from Black Ops 1, which leads me into the conversation that I want to start for today's video, which is whether or not Call of Duty should bring back DLC and Season Passes, where you pay, $15 for a map pack, or you pay $50 for the entire Season Pass, so you get all the DLC throughout the game's life cycle. And for a while, that was a pretty good setup that people were very happy with. I know, you had people complaining that, the DLCs were overpriced. And you have a lot of people that are happy that they kind of transitioned away from that in recent years. And now all the content is free, especially since the player base is not split up, which is a big thing where, you buy the DLC, but if your friends don't have the map packs, you can't play on those maps together. And it really sucks because it's content you paid for, but if you have friends that don't have it, you can't really enjoy it, especially with zombies. So on one hand, you have a lot of people that are happy that the DLC isn't a thing anymore in Call of Duty because it means that the player base isn't split up anymore since everybody gets all the content now. And you don't have to put an extra $50 on top of the $60 you already spent on the game in order to get all the content that the game has to offer. So, there are a lot of people that love it, that the new Call of Duty games have transitioned into a live service where all the content is free, and I guess it's more friendly to the consumer since you're spending less money than you would with the Season Pass. But on the other hand, there actually are a lot of people that miss the Season Pass and wants the DLC to come back, because it means that if we do have the DLC, if we do have the Season Passes, that means we'll get more content in the game. Since, the way the DLC worked is that you were promised for each DLC pack 4 multiplayer maps and a brand new zombies experience, which is a lot of content, more content than we're getting in the free updates. Especially with Cold War, there hasn't really been a whole lot of content, and the game's almost halfway through its life cycle already. We only had 2 zombies maps during that entire time. That's 2 maps total in almost 6 months. I'm not counting Outbreak because that's not real zombies. It's shit. So, yeah. Only 2 real maps so far. Meanwhile, in Black Ops 1, in April 2011, we already had 2 maps. We had 2 maps when the game launched. We had Kino der Toten and 5, and then we had, I think by the time we hit April, it was like 2 DLCs or 3 DLCs. So you had 4 or 5 maps by this time in 2011 in Black Ops 1. But in Cold War, we only got 2 so far. And we haven't really gotten a lot of new multiplayer content either. In Season 2, the only new map we got was the Apocalypse map, which was 6v6. There was also the Mansion map, which was a face-off map, and we got the Outbreak map. But that's like one new 6v6 map in the entire season, which takes place around the same time as a DLC season, which is about 2 months. So, one map compared to the 4 maps that you would get if we had the Season Passes. And Season 3 isn't much better. The only new maps that we have are Diesel and a remake, which is Standoff. Those are the only 2 6v6 maps we're going to have. Oh yeah, and in Season 2, we also had the 6v6 Miami, but that was literally a scaled-down version of a map that we already had in Cold War since launch. So the content in Cold War has been pretty underwhelming so far, and a lot of people believe that, if we just had Season Passes, it would be so much better. We'd have so much more content than we would otherwise, which I guess makes a lot of sense logically, because if you pay for the content, they would have more resources to give us more content, and they'd have more of an incentive to give us higher quality content since we're paying extra money for those extra maps. And in the case of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, that was definitely true. The DLC content was fantastic. But it isn't always true that just because we're paying for it means that the content is actually good. Take a look at Black Ops 4, for example. We had a $50 Season Pass, and the DLC maps were fucking horrendous. Madagascar, Casino, Lair, those are some of the worst maps I've ever played in Call of Duty history. Not nearly as bad as Piccadilly in Modern Warfare, but still, you're paying extra money for maps. You expect them to be at least halfway decent. But with Black Ops 4, the DLC maps were terrible. They really were. If you played them before, you know what I'm talking about. Just these big fucking maps with no flow, all these fucking hallways and corridors. It makes no sense the way these maps were designed. They did not play well at all. So with Black Ops 4, you had a season pass, but honestly, I can't really say that Black Ops 4 had better post-launch content than Cold War at this point. Even though I think Black Ops 4 is a much better game overall than Cold War, there's no, like, it just because you're paying for it, just because you're putting $50 more into the game, doesn't mean that it's going to solve all the problems. And Cold War has a lot more problems than just the amount of content that we have. It's just the overall fun factor isn't there. No matter how many maps we have, no matter how much content you have, the skill-based matchmaking and the awful score streak system, where streaks mean nothing in that game, that's the fundamental issue with Cold War that prevents you from having a whole lot of fun in the game. The only thing in Cold War that's actually really fun is zombies, ironically. It's actually a lot better. If you're a zombies fan, Cold War is definitely much better than Black Ops 4. And the funny thing is, we were talking about season passes. Black Ops 4 had a whole bunch of zombies maps through the Black Ops pass. So around this time 2 years ago, which was when we were at the Black Ops 4 life cycle, we had so many more maps in Black Ops 4 than we currently do in Cold War Zombies. But the fact of the matter is, the 2 maps that we've had in Cold War and the overall experience is much better by far than what you'll get in Black Ops 4. So that's something that's worth mentioning. Just because you have more maps doesn't inherently mean that it's a better experience. More does not equal better. So, even though people are disappointed about the lack of content in Cold War, the amount of content isn't the problem. It's the overall experience, the overall core mechanics of the game fucking suck, and that's why people aren't having fun with Cold War. That's why people are playing Battlefront 2 and Overwatch, games that are 4 or 5 years old. People are playing those games. They have higher player numbers right now than Black Ops Cold War, which just came out less than 6 months ago. That's fucking pathetic. But you can't blame all that on lack of maps and lack of content. It's just, no, the overall experience is shit. So people don't want to play it. Doesn't matter how many maps you add in the future, that's not going to solve the overall problems that the game is suffering through that make people want to stay away from it. As far as Cold War's lack of content, you can honestly bring that down to the decline of 6v6 multiplayer. If you're a 6v6 player and you're not interested in any other game modes, you don't care about Dirty Bomb, you don't care about Outbreak, you don't care about Face Off, then yeah, there's a serious lack of content. But if you enjoy all those game modes, then you might think that Cold War has a good amount of content. Because earlier I was talking about how, you only had one 6v6 map in one of the seasons, but if you don't care about 6v6, or if you play more than 6v6, then there's plenty of content in the game for you, right? I remember that was a huge controversy with Call of Duty World War II, where the season passes, you did have the season pass, and you did have the DLC, but people felt like there was a huge lack of content since you only had 3 multiplayer maps instead of the 4 that we usually get in a DLC, since they were focusing a lot on War Mode, which took resources away from 6v6. And I think that's ultimately where the blame lies in the perceived lack of content in recent COD games, is that Call of Duty is just focusing away from traditional 6v6 multiplayer, so we're getting less 6v6 maps, but overall the content level is comparable to previous entries in the series. It's just that a lot of the content, a lot of the resources are being allocated into different things, which gives the perception that we don't have a lot of content in Cold War. But in reality, it's just that Call of Duty in general is changing. 6v6 is becoming less of a priority, so we're getting less 6v6 content, which a season pass wouldn't really rectify. I don't think a season pass would fundamentally change anything that's going on right now with Cold War. So I disagree with the people in the community that think that bringing the season passes would be a great thing for Call of Duty. People like Thunder that have been tweeting shit like that. I completely disagree. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that Call of Duty would be better if season passes were to return? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.